Alright, before we get too far, I just want to let everyone know that for this review I will just mostly be talking through the whole time, so if you don't want to hear me talk for however long it takes, you can just turn the video off. I really won't be demonstrating very much. It's kind of hard to demonstrate how a sight works on a bow with a camera. If you don't believe me, you can go try it yourself. You'll just end up with a video of you shooting your bow, which I could do, but I don't think it'll be beneficial to anybody. I do have a couple videos on my channel that show some of the features of the sight, if you want to check them out, and at the end of this video I will do a close-up of the sight and just go through some of the things that you will see with the Garmin, just close up. So with that being said, I have a list here on my phone of some things I want to get through just to keep myself on track. So let's get to it. I'm going to talk about what it can do, what it can't do, some setup tips, the performance, things I don't like, do I think it's worth it, and just some closing thoughts. So what it can do, I think everybody knows what it can do. It's a range finding sight. It will range your target for you, and it will give you a pin that you already set up, other than the pins in between the ones you set up. It has a reticle. If you don't know what that is, it's when you're ranging your target, you'll have a range pin on top, and then there'll be this little reticle that comes up that has little arrows pointing to which way you're gripping the bow. If you're gripping it, if you're torquing the bow a little bit, you want to get the little dot inside the little circle just to let you know that everything's perfectly aligned and the same way that you held the bow when you set it up. It will show you some shot dynamics. It'll provide some information after the shot, how much the bow vibrated, how many degrees you were off level, if you were at all, just to help improve your shot in the future. But it also will show you how many shots you've taken that day, and it will show you how many shots you've taken since the sight has been on your bow. There's also a laser locate feature that's only on the A1i that connects to other devices like a watch, just Garmin devices, just to help you try to find your arrow. I have a video on that. For the A1i, it also has different arrow profiles, so you can set up more than one arrow if you shoot different arrows. And the A1i also has the option for red or green dot pin. So what it can't do, it can't do anything magical like everyone seems to think it can do. It combines a rangefinder and a single pin sight. If you have those things, you already pretty much have the technology that you're using right now. It does not shoot the animal for you, obviously. Just saying. It does not come out of the box sighted in. I think people think you just throw it on your bow and you just go out and start shooting, and it takes away everything. When it comes to archery, it just takes away everything. But it doesn't do that. You have to sight it in. All the pins that come up when you range, you have to sight them in yourself. And it will not let you shoot past your calibrated pin. So people think it's going to make people take unethical shots beyond their distance, and you actually can't. If you only sight the sight in to 55 yards and an animal comes in at 56 and you try to range it, it'll range it and tell you it's 56 yards away, but it will tell you no calibrated pin, and you will not get a pin for that range. So in a way, it's actually really good. It's stopping people from shooting farther than they can. I mean, obviously, you can still range a target at 50 yards and then just go back to the animal and take a shot. But you can do that with any sight, you know. So yeah, it will not let you shoot farther than you sighted it in for. Some setup tips. So it comes with tape to tape the wire and the trigger button. Just get rid of those. I would recommend using double-sided tape for the trigger to mount it on your bow, and then use zip ties for the wire. When you're sighting it in, it's going to tell you to, after you sight your first pin in, it's going to tell you to walk back 10 yards. I would recommend just walking back 5. You don't have to do 10. You can just go back 5. Reason for that being is that you have to sight in, I think, 3 or 4 pins before the setup is complete. And especially on a new bow, if you're going 10, 20, 30, 40, it's going to take you a lot longer to sight that sight in just to finish the setup process, because you know the margin for error is a lot greater. If you go 10, 15, 20, 25, you'll be done with setup a lot quicker. And you can always go and add more pins later. You can go back further later on, but just to get through the setup process faster, I recommend going back 5 yards. And also, after you shoot one arrow, it's going to ask you where it hit, or the arrow hit, low or high, how many inches. I recommend shooting a group. Shoot 3 or 4 arrows before adjusting that. You don't have to shoot just one and change it. And if possible at all, I would recommend getting used to your bow before sighting this sight in. If it's a new bow, you know, there's that getting used to process with the new bow, and trying to do that with the sight at the same time, like I did, can be kind of difficult. The performance and accuracy. So the range finder in the pin, it won't seem to work for me with just holding the bow up and trying to range the target. It's very inaccurate. It's not consistent. I see some videos of people doing it that way, and I can't get it to work that way. But at full draw, it's right on every single time. So, which is fine for me, and for most people, I think you're just going to be drawing back and then ranging your target. So it's not that big of a deal, but just something to keep in mind. Also, I took this to the 3D archery range to test out the consistency and how quick it would adjust between different targets, just to put it to the test. And I was through the 3D range in like 10 minutes with 20 targets. The people at the front desk actually couldn't believe how fast I went through that range. Well, it's pretty easy to do, I guess, with this sight, but yeah, everything was right on. The first time I just ranged it, excuse me, took my shot, and they were all right where I wanted to hit, right in the kill zone, right hard shots or lungs. So I was really happy with that. You know, just testing every shot I took was a different range. You know, 15, 30, 20. You know, and I just kept going, and I had 5 arrows each time, so I didn't get to keep walking back and forth. So it was quick, and it was all right on. I also tested it out in the woods because I was worried about branches and stuff like that, and I have no trouble at all shooting through the woods out in the real world situation. So there was a freezing issue with the sight. I posted a video about that, and they've had an update since then and seem to have fixed the problem. But just so everyone knows. This sight also has angle compensation for the range. That seems to be working good for me. So, things I don't like about this sight. I don't like the tape for mounting it, which I already went over. I don't like the Allen adjustments on the site, especially for the curve adjustments, to adjust the sight this way and not just left and right, but the axis. It's just really hard to use them Allen screws to adjust that. I wish it was one of them quick adjusters that click, to make really micro adjustments. I've noticed it's hard to do the curve adjustments, especially because you loosen the screw up and you try to move it a little bit and it moves around a lot. And not only that, when you go to tighten it down, it wants to move, and that's just kind of a pain. I don't know why a site that costs this much just has that kind of adjustments. The price, obviously, it's really expensive. Yeah, nothing really needs to be said about that. And also, I don't like that in order to get a green pin, you have to buy the A1i. That's really the only reason I bought the A1i, is because I wanted a green pin. The A1, the cheaper version, you can only have a red pin. And I wish there was just an option to just pick one, like A1 with a red dot only, or A1 with a green dot only, rather than paying the extra money just because I wanted a green dot. So, do I think this site is worth it? Well, I go back and forth in my head a little bit about that, and I guess it comes just down to price. And but yes, because if I think about would I buy it again, the answer is yes. So I guess it is worth it, especially for me. And that's another thing is I think this is a great site for people who want to self-film their hunts, because that's what I got it for. Just one less step in the process. It's really hard to get a deer on camera and then, in view, and then get the rangefinder out, range it, and then put the rangefinder away and draw your bow back. It's going to be one less step in the process for me. So I think this is going to be a great tool for people who self-film. Alright, let's check this Garmin Xero up close. I'll turn it on and go through some of the features and settings you can adjust. So, it's going to come on whatever last mode I was in. So I was in hunting mode last. So automatically right now it's ready to hunt. You can get your fixed pins up. I'm hitting the trigger button by the grip here. Hold for the ranging pin. You get the idea. So, that was hunt mode, the first one. The second one here, that's practice mode, same thing. Oh, also real quick, as you can see up in the right hand corner, there's a battery life indicator. Alright. This is some brightness settings here. You can go in here, adjust the pin brightness, up or down. These are just some general pins. These aren't my pins. This is just showing you. I can also adjust the pin brightness on the fly. Let's go back real quick to hunt mode. So, I'll get a pin up real quick. Now you can adjust the pin brightness here with these arrows up on top, up or down. So that's nice. Let's go back to the brightness settings here. You can adjust the reticle. I won't go into that. The backlight, this light right here, you can adjust that up or down. Backlight timeout, this is how long the backlight, this screen will stay on before it times out. Light sensor on, this is for the ambient light outside. You can turn that on or off. It'll automatically adjust your pins for you. I like to keep it on. Reticle on or off, I don't know why you would turn that off, but let's go here. This is arrow profiles. For the A1i, you can have different arrow profiles. If you have more than one arrow you like to shoot, you can sight each one in and come in here and select which arrow you're shooting. This is settings for the calibrated ranges. You can come back here and readjust each individual range that you've sighted in originally. You can readjust them. Fixed pins, you can come in here and pick which pins you want to display up on the fixed pins that you set up. You can, for the A1i, you can also come in here and readjust each individual pin, red or green. For the A1, you can't do that. You can just one color. So that's some of the pin settings there. This is the laser locate feature to connect to the Garmin other devices like the watch. That's only on the A1i too. This right here, let's see, this is just some stats, how many shots I've taken so far since I've had the sight on. Some other things that aren't showing up right now. This is the main settings. This is where most of the settings you can do. So pin, how long before it times out. You can adjust the settings there and the color. You can realign the reticle that you set up when you sighted the bow in the first time. You can readjust that here. Laser locations, you come in here and different modes just to get it on. That's another feature only on the A1i. Shot dynamics. Oh, that's after the shot, it'll show you some different stats. You can have that on or off. Units. So obviously yards or meters, you can change that here. Language, change the language. Level, you can readjust that here. Calibrate compass, this is one thing I didn't know it had till recently. That's for the laser locate, I assume, just to help figure that out. Custom top pin placement, you can readjust that so that your pin is either further up or down, the first one. You know, further up you'll be able to adjust or have sighted more pins below it. I have mine in the middle, which I want to redo. So that's just some of the quick settings. I'll go back in here and show you. Here's my fixed pins. You know, I've talked about those a few times. The reticle comes up. So as you can see, my reticle is way up there, and my fixed pin, my first pin, is down there. I kind of wish I had it further up just so I wouldn't have to move the bow as much between that first pin and that reticle. It would be less adjustment. As you can see, there's still plenty of room. I'm out to 55 yards at the bottom pin there. But yeah, that's a quick look at it. I could go into more detail, but that's just to give you an idea of the Garmin Xero sight.